Jason Chaffetz, former Republican congressman of Utah and a Fox News contributor. Look, Jason, the point isn't the zip code of where he marks it. It's the fact that Ground Zero, Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and the Pentagon, those sites are unlike anything else in American history in terms of national security. You think the commander-in-chief could be at one of those sites?
It's just not a priority for him. And he's exemplifying that. I tend to believe that if the president really wanted to be there, we give him every asset in the world in Air Force One and all the military that he needs. If he wanted to be there, he could have made it. He's going to miss it by a few hours. You think that was a mistake? They plan these trips sometimes months in advance. On the other hand, I got to tell you, Harris, I'm inspired by ordinary Americans who do extraordinary things. And I think it's about the victims and the families. Joe Biden at this point is not inspiring to a lot of people. He's a distraction. And he does. He makes it about himself. He tells stupid stories. And I don't trust him to actually honor what America is feeling. And it's sad that we're at that point. But he's a gaffe machine, and maybe it's just better that he's not there.
Well, look, the machine will be speaking later today when he finally lands. And you're right. I mean, we asked KJP in the White House, Karine Jean-Pierre, about this last Thursday. So clearly they could have put together a different flight plan by a few hours. And they have to refuel on his way back. So I totally get it. But come on. So you mentioned families. I do want to share this. The Travis Manion Foundation, which helps our nation's veterans to keep the 9/11 promise that was made, we will never forget, reached out today and just, didn't mention Biden by name or anything, just wanting to remind everybody that we can't forget what was so important. I sat with her, in fact, a few years ago, 4 years ago, in the George Washington the George W. Bush, please excuse me, Presidential Library. And she told me about this foundation and about what it feels like to be a family member and not be forgotten. I can only imagine from what I'm reading and what I'm hearing from other families, this president is in danger of something that's going to break.
Yeah, our hearts and prayers. I remember when 9/11 happened. I think we all do. I hope we all do. I was far away from that site, but the families and the strength they went through, the United States, the way we came behind. I remember our little kids. We had little kids who didn't understand what was going on. We made macaroni necklaces and sent them to a fire department in New York City. It was a great moment. We were all coming together. And yet, this president is oblivious to all that. To be on Air Force One while this is happening, he didn't have to do that. It was a choice, and he made the wrong choice yet again.
And we love our troops up in Alaska. We support them, too. But as you just said, he made a choice today. By the way, his choice included sending Kamala Harris, the vice president, to Ground Zero. She did that today. The vice president, though, has been asked recently if she's prepared to serve as president if Biden was to be too old to run again or any other number of reasons. Here she is.
Say Joe Biden is too old to run again. Are you prepared to be commander-in-chief?
Yes, I am, if necessary. But Joe Biden is going to be fine. We will win re-election. There is too much at stake, and the American people know it.
It's so interesting, Jason, because in recent days she has said unequivocally, yes, yes, yes. Your take on it?
I'm glad the vice president was at the memorial. Why not? Political leaders should be there. Mayor Adams was there. The vice president was there. That was a good thing. Does it scare a lot of Americans that Kamala Harris would be the commander-in-chief? I personally, look, I'm a Republican. I make no bones about it. I think she's fully underprepared to be the next vice president. And I think the majority of Americans know that. She hasn't accomplished anything in the years that she's been in office. But, I'm glad that she was at today's event. It's not about these political leaders. They should be there. It's about the families and remembering the attack that happened on this nation. And by the way, the attack that happened in Benghazi as well, when we lost 4 Americans on 9/11 as well.
I'm glad you brought that up. I don't know if you caught it, and I'm going to ask my team to roll it. Former ambassador to the UN, Nikki Haley, has said that if you run against Joe Biden at this point, you're really running against Kamala Harris. Can we roll that?
We can't afford to have Kamala Harris become our president.
Everybody needs to know this is really me running against Kamala Harris for president.
A vote for Joe Biden is a vote for Kamala Harris. And the thought of a President Kamala Harris should send a chill up every American's spine.
So, Jason, maybe not everybody thought about this on this day. And I have a personal connection because I did lose a loved one in the plane that hit the Pentagon. So I feel a certain way today. And I'm allowed to be in that space, but I share it, I disclose it. So I look at this and I think the president can't be here, but he puts the woman that he often calls the president by mistake and gaffes, he says, and the woman who suddenly says that she's ready for his job. I just want to know your thoughts on it, and we'll move quickly.
I think Nikki Haley is right. She's pointing out that, look, when you go to check that box on who you want to be the president, it's the president and the vice president. And there are a lot of us that believe that Joe Biden doesn't have the physical and cognitive capabilities to get through the next little bit, let alone another 4 years on top of that.
All right, we'll move to this. The U.S. Appeals Court has ruled the Biden administration likely violated the First Amendment. It has to do with censoring Americans' COVID content and questions on social media. Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt called this another big victory for free speech. The White House responded just this morning saying the administration said, quote, has promoted responsible actions to protect public health, safety, and security when confronted by challenges like a deadly pandemic. So we're looking at censorship and stepping on free speech. And the White House, all in one sentence.
Yeah, the White House statement is just mystifying. Look, Senator Schmidt, when he was Attorney General there, filed this suit, and it was the right thing. The court made the right decision. Of course it was a suppression to the First Amendment rights. You have a privately held company that is a platform and a conduit to get information out. That was suppressed because government regulators, people that have police powers, were in there telling them not to do this. That is a suppression of the most fundamental First Amendment rights that we have in this nation. There should be more consequence than just a court ruling. I wish there were some people that are fired, prosecuted, do these types of things. But no, this White House is going to kind of pat it on the back and pretend it never happened.
Yeah. Jason Chaffetz, thank you for being with me in Focus today. Appreciate you.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.